Ready?
Ready.
Good to go?
Ready.
We're recording on all fronts. This is fantastic.
Ow.
Don't hurt yourself. All right. Welcome to episode 50. This is a big deal for us. 50 episodes are live.
We did it.
This is a big, big moment. To celebrate, we have some accoutrements for our set, as you'll see. Balloons. My wife is making a smirking face at me right now.
She's proud of you, bro.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. In addition to that, we have some guests on the show today. Emily, my wife, who's been long talked about.
She's here.
Never seen. She's here. And we have a good friend of ours, Jennifer Easton. She's going to be coming on the show to talk about Vanderpump Rules. I'm not an expert in this area. Neither is Courtney, but that's okay.
I definitely am.
All right.
Great.
Yes. So we brought in experts.
I did my homework,
help
though.
Provide some context for what's going on in the world right now. Now, before we kick off all of that, do you have your phone with you?
I do.
Okay, great. I'm going to have you queue up a message to Jennifer. We're going to call her in just a second. It's going to be a text message. You'll text her in.
I lost the palm.
She's going to bail.
See you 5. You want to come up here?
All right. So while
Wait, what am I saying to her?
you can just let her to hop on. You can let her know she can hop on now.
You go.
So while that's taking place, we're going to quickly discuss episode 50, the bottle here. All right. Barrel Dovetail. It's a little special bottle for episode 50. Never had this before.
Never had it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. It's pretty highly recommended.
What's it
in the
called?
world. It is called Barrel Dovetail. Now, barrel is the name. Dovetail is the type.
Copy.
So these two things, yeah. All right. You got me?
Dovetail made by Barrel.
There it is, dude. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to pour a little bit of that. We'll pass that around. We're waiting for
Baltimore County
Jennifer to
Public
hop
School,
on.
baby.
Once she hops on, we're going to kick off this whole Vanderpump thing and get into it. We will take a few sips of this in the meantime. Feel free, Josh, if you have any fun notes for us on this.
I was just going to read the little right up here. Barrel Dovetail features woody bourbon finish in Dunn Vineyard Cabernet casks, late bottled vintage port pipes, and blackstrap molasses rum casks.
Oh, sounds so nice.
Indeed.
It's perforated. Josh, it's perforated. Nice little label.
Oh, very nice.
It's very high end.
Feels like it's
very nice.
actually paper.
All right, now, Emily, you're
And
not
not
drinking
screen
bourbon
printing.
tonight.
No.
You're on this champagne life.
I believe that a lot of whiskey just tastes like
I might need to call an Uber.
gasoline.
That's okay.
Because I've been
That's all right.
drinking champagne, waiting for this whole thing.
Emily, you will pass that bottle to Josh. Courtney, you will pass that bottle to Emily.
I need a sparkler if I'm gonna, like we're in the club.
All right. I'm open to it. We have one somewhere. The dog's getting wrapped up in the cable.
That's all. That's
She
happens.
always
Yeah.
does. She'll navigate her way out of it. It'll be all right.
She's smart. I raised her.
She is very smart. We know that. We love that.
Am I the only one drinking this?
Yes.
All
this point.
Well,
You can just keep
Enjoy
it
it.
next to
Just
you
hold
if
it-
you
hold it
want.
right there.
That's totally fine.
You got the flat thing right there now. Right there.
oh yeah. You're right.
Or you could just sit there like
No,
that.
that was a smart idea.
Yeah.
We put this here for a reason. I'm good.
All right. Great.
You're welcome.
He regrets putting me on here immediately. He's like, "Can you be quiet?"
You're fine. You're doing great.
You're doing. This is why we're here.
Can you pass
It's
back,
fantastic.
Em?
Yes. Send that back this way.
Thank
back
you.
to Courtney.
All right.
This is
Are
what
you
we
all
do.
right? You're acting. You're,
I'm stuck behind this mic. You've got to. There we
You
go.
can move the
you
microphone
can move around the
Yeah.
mic. You can move it. You can just throw that right in the middle.
Actually, you may want to move it out a little bit because your hair is
Oh
kind
my
of.
God, you guys!
You know what I mean? Like
International Women's Day,
Spin it.
and you're sitting here telling a woman what to
Wow.
do.
There
I'm
you
just
go.
kidding.
You're doing fine. This is great. You're thriving.
It is International Women's Day. Shout out to all the women. And
What did you
I
do?
love that sentiment. Thank you
What
so
did
much.
What did you do for International Women's Day?
what's today? I
Anything?
worked all day
Of course.
and
to make money for your woman.
yeah, for all of the women in my home. I got 3 daughters and my wife. So that's Black Power. I don't know. Like I just what do you do a W for Women's Day?
I don't know. It might be offensive, whatever you choose. Run that risk.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if there's a thing for Women's Day, but yeah,
That's okay.
What'd you do?
I don't know if there's a thing for
talked to
it.
your mom?
No, I talked to my mom. Talked to Emily a little bit. She was out doing stuff most of the day, so nothing too crazy. This is it. We're celebrating women now.
What does Women's Day mean to you as a woman? Like, what's that? Like,
Did you put together a post?
I didn't, but I thought about doing it, and I am someone who is like, it can be a little cynical if you ask Taylor. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to shut up. But basically, there were abortion, bans and things in certain states. So I was like, as we celebrate women, yet we're living in a country that now rolled back women's rights.
Okay.
So to me, that's like a mention to, say that again. And so I was like, maybe I should just let people like celebrate and be happy about something. But I thought about that.
So you were going to interject with
kind of, and then I also
some abortion topics
because you brought it up. I work as a cosmetologist in the beauty industry, and we are a woman-dominated industry, and yet, even though we're women-dominated, men actually have probably the highest paying roles and the most brand ambassador roles, and
as cosmetologists,
yes, and they don't, and I don't imagine it's because men are just better at hair, even though there's fewer of them. It seems to be these people have these
and they have
higher positions,
fewer hair.
All right.
Yeah.
They're making, so that's how I feel.
These are valid points. I'm not upset about.
That's why I said I'll go on my rant.
I love it.
Jennifer, there's Jennifer.
Can you hear us,
Jennifer.
Jennifer? Are we coming through? I take it as a no. We have to wait for it to start recording.
Hey, welcome.
Oh, wow. Thank you. It's not anticlimactic the second
There we go.
The excitement still hasn't set in.
What do you mean the second time?
You did great.
I promise we're going to get this all worked out, but it seems like it's working now, which is
she's frozen.
ideal.
Lost you.
Perfect.
You
It's
guys
okay.
are frozen.
We'll connect back with her in a second.
Okay. All right. Cool. It's in
I
the.
flat ironed my bangs for nothing.
Damn.
For nothing.
I appreciate the struggle though.
Yeah.
Emily knows that really damages hair.
It's true.
Well, and Emily was denied hairspray not 15
I
minutes
know.
ago.
I have
so
flyaways just
She has
going.
flyaways.
I
It's
got
out of
breakage.
control.
How do you live like this, Emily? How do you live under these conditions?
It's tough. I just avoid the house a lot.
That's right. All right. So, speaking of National Women's Day, let's dive right into Vanderpump Rules. Nobody got that joke, but it's okay. Sorry, guys.
Wait, what
don't
did you
laugh.
say? What was the joke?
It was National
He
Women's
made
Day.
an International Women's Day joke, but he said National Women's Day.
Oh.
National.
Is it international? International?
That wasn't
All
even
right.
his joke,
It's
apparently.
global, baby.
All right,
It
listen.
is?
My joke didn't land. All right, guys, we get it. Let's just move
it's
on.
okay.
I'd like to
surprise
harp
Taylor,
on
they're
it.
everywhere.
As a man, I'm like,
damn it.
it is? Is it national? Like,
Emily, get out of that house.
All
We're
right,
not allies.
all right, guys. I'm going to do my best to get us back on track. Keep us on track.
Yes,
This is
sir.
tough. All right, so big
Let's go.
developments. I don't watch Vanderpump Rules. I'm going to be honest.
Garbage.
You know that.
neither do I.
That's
Neither-
a shame.
Neither is Courtney.
I've
So,
been told to many times and have not.
yeah, it's obviously a popular show. We're just not cool enough.
I would argue Jennifer and I have built a big friendship, and that's a piece of it, would be Vanderpump Rules. Don't you
Yes.
think? I feel like that's something we...
I absolutely agree. I think there's like a kinship because it's been on for 10 years and like there's just so much material to discuss when you realize someone's part of the fandom.
Yes,
Yes.
and I was going to ask you, because I remember I sent you that article where I was like, it came out with the big, Tom Sandoval cheated on Ariana Madix. Was that the first time you saw it, or did you already see it?
I had already seen it. My friend from Texas was the first
I know,
person
you've got a
who
big
sent it to me.
Vanderpump
But
network.
you were close.
I feel like
was
it broke, and I
within
sent
the
it. I
hour.
was like, you're the first person I would send something like that to. And I was like, she'll
Welcome
get
to
this.
Bad Girls in Bourbon.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, she froze again.
But would you like us to preface what we're talking about?
No.
No.
We're
okay.
going to get to the
We're gonna get to that.
We need some
Yeah.
we need a little
I'm
context.
loving this. That was
we
just
need
a
a little
joke, yeah.
context.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
do.
Okay.
All right. So hold on. How long has the show been on?
The show's been on for about 10 years. It started with because I'm a big like Housewives franchise person. I'm a big
Yeah.
Bravo person. Beverly Hills is my favorite. And so what they did was they would sneak in a little like episode, and they
Like
would
post, right? Like after
like,
the show.
well, not even post. Like in mid episode of Beverly Hills, they introduce Sheena, and she's like talking to somebody, and before you know it,
You're
the
watching-
show turns, and you're watching Vanderpump,
And it goes
Yeah.
back to Housewives.
and you were like, oh my God,
okay.
how am I watching Vanderpump right now? Or because you
Yeah.
were like, I was watching Housewives, and it just started
Yeah.
playing Vanderpump and bled right into it. So
and you
I
didn't know what it was, but you liked it.
and that's the thing, I didn't think I would,
okay.
if I'm being honest. because
Everybody was all in at that point.
I was such a Housewives person. When I saw like a young group of people at a restaurant, I was like, oh, this is a stupid spinoff. I don't care. But you know what? I do. And they did a great job of integrating like Brandy Glanville with Sheena. And then I was on board from the get-go, from the day they aired it. And I followed these people and I feel like they're my group of friends. And so many other people do, which is why we're so invested in what just blew up. Which, don't you feel like, and I don't know if you keep up with Housewives, but
No, I do.
Jen Shaw got caught, breaking the law. She's in jail right now. We've had people fake cancer on Orange County.
Oh, okay.
And like all these big things have broken, and yet nothing really emotionally hit me like this. This has like moved me.
All right, so it's been on for 10 years.
Yes. Sorry.
Which was
I
the
could go
original
on and on.
question.
10 years.
10 years.
Never seen an episode.
It might be 9 or 10, something like that.
Okay, but how many seasons are there? 10 seasons exactly.
Oh my
So
God.
this
10
is
seasons,
so this
right?
is
a
a
season
big
doesn't mean a
Correct.
year, right?
Big
You can
This
do 2
season
seasons in a
started
year.
February 9th.
Okay, so we're on 10th season.
Yes.
All right. Now the players that have caused all the controversy, right? Tom and Ariana.
Tom with the mustache.
Okay, Tom Sandoval. There's two
Yes,
Toms.
yes.
Tom
Important.
Sandoval has
Sure.
been with Ariana for like, what was it? How long?
How long are
Long
we
time.
talking? Because these are the two that the drama surrounds.
Is it 9 years or something? They've been together, they've been together for most of all the seasons.
I've done my research.
And-
Yeah, I believe it's
Ready.
9 years.
Yeah,
'Cause it
it's
was
so
like season
9 years.
Season
Yes.
2.
Yeah.
Yes. So they've been together for a long time, and there's a lot of details to this, but
Sure.
but basically he cheated on Ariana, who he's been with for 9 years. Now they're not
Yeah.
married, but they own houses, they own businesses together. They're essentially married, just not with the paper.
Okay.
And there's a newer cast member that came seasons later.
The white Kanye West.
And you know what? I'm going to take sides on this. I don't like her.
Oh, no, you're talking
I
about-
never-
All right, so hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. What? So the big drama is around Tom Sandoval
Yes.
and Ariana.
Kind of. Yes. There's
Correct.
another
No,
player.
I know that there's more to it. We're setting the stage
Okay,
here because
got
a
it.
lot of people that
We gotta do the
a lot of
building
people
blocks.
that like watch this, listen to this, don't necessarily follow. So I just want to set the stage.
Okay.
So they've been together for like 9 years. This is a long-standing relationship. So this is why it's hitting so hard for all the fans, right?
Yes.
We feel like we've been growing up with these
Yes.
characters, and now there's a big divide. Is that right?
I would
Yeah.
agree.
Okay, Jenny Oppen.
Correct, but I think there's an important nuance here, which is Ariana is one of the most beloved characters on Vanderpump possibly ever. She has usually been on the right side of history. She's
Yeah.
very generous. She's very kind.
Okay.
She's always accepted the new cast members. So it was like of all women on the show for this to happen to, the witch hunt is on to
Yeah.
get anybody who has hurt Ariana.
So she's the fan favorite.
100%.
And has she been on the show since the very beginning?
Since season two,
Two,
because
because
that
of the
was when
Kristen dynamic,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yes, yeah.
All right, so season
from
two.
essentially from the beginning.
Okay, and then but Tom has been on since the
He's
beginning.
an OG, yeah.
He's OG.
Oh yeah, episode 1, baby.
And now is he kind of a fan favorite as well, or is he like where does he
People
fall
have-
in the
yes, but
hierarchy?
mixed feelings, more so than Ariana. I would say yes, like definitely a fan favorite, but Ariana's probably your like number one. Like
Yeah.
people would probably relate to the most, like Jennifer described. And the thing is, Ariana also is a personality and she stands up for herself, whereas there are other cast members I think that sit in the background. So you appreciate her because she's kind of this
Yeah.
actualized person that you're like, I would be her friend. So like Jennifer said, that's the person you don't do this to.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. But Taylor, to your point, the Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz are also very beloved by the public. They have 2 bars and restaurants
Yep.
in LA. And I literally a month before the scandal broke, they had this like really cute piece in the LA Times that was like, meet Hollywood's new middle class, like Tom and Tom, you love to love them.
Yep.
And this was supposed to be their year. You know what I mean? They were on track to have a banner year with their second spot opening.
Yeah.
Everybody loves them, and they really screwed the pooch. They really
So
did.
let me ask. I don't want to go sidetrack here, but let me ask a question. This is not. We're going to get back to the whole infidelity thing. Do you believe though? Right, like they have these 2 businesses. Right, they're booming, if you will. I know there's again controversy right now, but is there a possibility in your mind where this actually builds them up, increases business? I mean, bad press can be good press or whatever, right? Like there's no such thing as bad press. So is there a world in which this could be beneficial for the Toms, in your opinion, or do you think that like the backlash is just too brutal.
Because they're boycotting the restaurants and shit right now.
Yes, correct. But that's kind of short term, though, no? Or what do
when
you
white
think?
people boycott some shit.
Oh my God.
That's right. That's true.
That's
They
it.
dig in.
That's it.
They dig
It's
the
over.
heels in. So yeah, I mean, I will say I think that Tom, which obviously is named after them, has a chance.
That's a cool name.
And I think likely will be totally fine.
Yeah.
It's mostly owned by the Vanderpumps, like Lisa Vanderpump and Ken Todd. And so, and there's other cast members involved in Tom.
Okay.
I think they'll be fine. I think Schwartz and Sandy's is where they could really suffer because
What's
that's
Schwartz
new.
and Sandy? What's
That's
that?
new. That's their like new bar, right? Their new restaurant.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah. That
okay.
like
I wasn't aware.
The
just
Okay.
Toms
opened
went
last
into
year.
business with someone else who you can see on the show,
Yes.
but it's outside of Lisa Vanderpump. So this
Yeah.
is kind of their venture. And I
Okay.
think like their family
yeah.
put their
Tom
money
is
into
Tom and
that.
Tom.
Yeah.
And then Schwartz and
But-
Candy is the new joint.
Yes.
Gotcha.
But that
Okay.
said, Schwartz and Sandy's I saw on Instagram apparently was like packed the other night.
Because, yes.
And,
Because of all
and
this,
Tom
yeah.
Schwartz was going around like thanking all the customers like, hey, don't cancel me. I'm the good one, which
Yeah.
we should
Yeah,
definitely
we
talk
are
about that
left
because
to-
that remains to be seen.
Yes.
All right. So that brings us full circle.
There's a press. They released a statement. The restaurant.
now?
No.
Oh, the restaurant
When it
did.
happened, if you'll allow the read
Of course.
here. On Instagram, they posted, in light of the recent news, we appreciate the many words of support, but we also understand the outpouring of outrage that has been directed towards our business. However, those of us who are not famous have dedicated our time, hearts, and money to make this restaurant a reality. And it continues quite a long way, but it basically is in that same vein.
All right. So this brings us full circle to the infidelity piece, right? Enter Raquel. Is that her name? Raquel?
Well, her name's Rachel.
Rachel. Rachel. Rachel, but
Her
we
name
call
on the
her
show-
Raquel.
Yeah, call her what you will. We'll talk about this later.
She's a dolled up Rachel.
All right.
Yep,
so
that's right.
she enters later in. She's not an OG person by any means, but she's been around for a few seasons, as I recall. Is that right?
Yeah, she was
Correct.
brought in by James Kennedy.
Okay. All right.
Josh
Yes,
has got
Josh has got his hand.
Season
up.
5.
Season 5.
She was a
Okay.
guest
Okay.
and
All right.
recurring in
They
6.
were engaged, and she was with James for about 5 years.
They
so,
just
she
called
has-
off
Yes.
the engagement last reunion, like before this season that's currently playing popped off.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Very
she's
recent.
been kind of off the market as far as the public is concerned.
Yeah.
For some time. So this is her being single in, ready to
Correct.
mingle is a newer development, roughly speaking.
I need an infograph.
You do.
Okay.
We
The
should write-
Wikipedia
So-
article is saving me so much right now.
Let's go ahead and let's work through this infidelity piece, all right? Because obviously this was a few nights ago, and I started getting DMs into my Instagram from Emily, and they weren't dogs or people or kids getting hurt.
They weren't me.
There's got to be something going on at this point.
Yeah.
It's serious.
So it was a bunch of Vanderpump stuff, and if she's sending it to me, obviously it's a
I'm
big
like,
deal.
you have to know this.
Yeah, because I don't track with it that closely. So and then kind of went into lockdown mode around here. She was up all night on her
God.
phone.
Jennifer, I
It was a
definitely
whole thing.
sent you something super in the early morning hours, and you responded right away, and you were like, I can't get off of this, which made me laugh so hard because I was like, she's up and watching it too.
All right.
That's
So
amazing.
let's talk a little bit about how go to that night. Take us to
the
that
night
night.
that I discovered the news
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah.
Walk us through it.
So walk us through how did this all come about?
It's not that dramatic of a story. I was on Instagram.
This is like, do you remember where you were when Kennedy shot?
Before you go too hard on this story, take that mic, bring that mic up a
sorry.
little bit.
You sound good. Just bring it up a little
You sound good. It's just got to come up a little bit.
It's,
So
it's kind of
use some upper body strength.
yeah. It's a little wiggly. That's why it falls back down.
Push. There you go.
Do you want
good?
to tighten? Can you
great.
tighten her?
bit. Yeah, let me put my drink down. Tech support.
It's International Women's Day. Hook me up.
No. The big, right there. Yep.
Or national.
Nope,
Wednesday,
that's-
depending on who
yeah.
you ask. All right, so let's pivot back to the moment in which we all found out, or I guess you two found out about this big infidelity and
I still haven't found it.
how that unfolded. I know that
Taylor's mine was now. I found out
Yes.
right now.
I found out now. But the social media piece, that's what really led us all here tonight. Right?
Yeah,
it started
spending
kind
too
of,
much time
It started blowing
online,
up on Instagram.
I was on Instagram.
Or TikTok?
I think
I think page 6 wasn't
Yes,
it
page 6,
had
that's
the
what it was,
article,
yes.
and then it swept Instagram because James Kennedy,
Yes,
a cast
yep.
member, and Raquel's/Rachel's ex reposted it.
Okay, what's
Okay.
page 6?
Okay.
It's kind of like
Page 6.
the-
Take us through that.
It's a tabloid magazine. It's like what you see at the checkout counter at Target.
Oh, we're
that
talking
says,
like
a different
Gotcha.
version of
Okay.
TMZ or
Yeah,
Gotcha.
we're talking like
Gotcha.
TMZ
Gotcha.
but print. Okay.
So do we know who broke the news? Like, who was the informant? Do we know who came forward with this information? Like, how did it get out? I know that page 6 had got it and posted
an
it,
excellent and pointed question.
but who was the mole? Who's the rat?
This is something JW and I have talked about at length. Was it Ariana's camp? Was it James Kennedy? Was it who was it?
The thing is, I don't
that.
think anybody's trying to hide. Like that entire
Yeah.
cast is like out to get them right now. Like,
But it's not clear who it was, though, right?
Correct.
Still
The
speculation.
whole narrative, there's I feel like some key holes around who is informing the press, and that's a big one.
Okay.
So there's a rat.
There's
I mean, I wouldn't even call it like they're all like banding together to support Ariana, and
Yeah.
I think they're going really hard in the paint.
Yes.
To the point where like I don't know how filled in you are, but Sheena,
very.
who's a very tiny kind of, I would say a softer member of the cast, like she's been accused allegedly for punching Raquel in the face after finding out the news.
Good for her.
We've
Yeah.
seen photos.
So
like it.
I mean, that's
I like it.
so none of them are like hiding. I think
Taylor, you're up to speed. The photos dropped literally while I was in the shower getting ready for this podcast.
Yeah,
That's
I sent you
Emily.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, Emily's keeping me informed via Instagram.
Once I saw that pop up, I sent it to him immediately.
Now,
I was
is
like, so
this-
we've got photos.
Is Instagram like the main means of this information getting around right now? Like, is that seemingly how
I'm sure it's on
everyone-
every
No.
platform. Like TikTok's going off. And
You guys, it's Reddit, baby. I mean, here's the thing. I
yeah,
think
there is
that
a whole stream of
Reddit.
it.
Reddit,
Instagram
baby.
is the dissemination vehicle. That's how the news is getting spread. It's
Okay.
shareable, but
Yeah.
Reddit is where most things have broken. So if you really want the news first, you got to get on Reddit.
Interesting. But so at this stage, we're thinking that there are multiple people involved that are uploading this information. Like there's multiple
People from both
leakers.
camps have spoken. I know Ariana's brother has
yeah.
spoken on it.
Yeah.
I know that anonymously one of Raquel's friends has allegedly offered information. There's no secure fact
Source.
to that, but
Yeah.
they are listing these things out and they tend to be consistent. So you
Okay.
feel like you're getting it from a reliable source.
So you got page 6, you got Instagram,
Reddit. It's all over the place.
Okay.
And it doesn't seem like it's all coming from
I
one
also saw people debating
specific
whether or
place.
not Sheena actually punched Raquel in the face. People were saying, "Oh, it didn't actually happen," but then Raquel got a restraining order and
Yeah.
posted photos. So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to debate that, but it's just interesting how
Yeah.
we're just piecing things together.
Got it.
Okay. All right. Very good. So, what you all right, Josh?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, just checking on you, man.
Oh yeah, I'm just leaning back, just taking it all
good.
in.
All right. So, what are the chances? Let me
Don't
ask.
look
I'm
at me
going
like
to ask
that.
a couple of questions. I feel like we've kind of set the stage a little bit, and feel free to hop in if I've missed anything that's really important here. What are the chances, in your opinion, the both of you, that this, let's say these infidelities, right, were not who's to say they weren't discovered quite some time ago? Who's to say that they didn't preserve this story and all of this content for
I'll let Jennifer talk
the
about that
show
first.
debuting? Where are we at on establishing timelines with when they started with the infidelity versus when we found it?
Yeah.
Is it possible that this was kind of a choreographed dumping of information
For
just to
TV,
kind of
yeah.
dial up promotion for the show, right? So do we have any evidence to suggest that Raquel and Tom were doing things quite a while ago? Or do we have evidence that there was
this is
Rocky
loaded.
This dates back
or
to
there
Valentine's
or
Day,
there are
right?
photos
Right.
of Rocky.
I was gonna say-
Rocky business.
I'll
with
let
him
Jennifer
and-
start. That's
with
a
Tom
fun
and
one.
Ariana.
I feel like this is a loaded question. I feel like Taylor knows the answer to some of these
Yes.
questions. and he
Because
wants
I've been
to hear us
informed.
explain it,
So
and
here's
I
the deal.
respect it, and I love it. Keep
I
going,
know.
Taylor. What are you gonna say?
Sorry, not to cut you off. I know the answer to some of these, but not to some of the other ones. So, for example, Tom and Ariana. I don't know. I might be saying her name wrong, but I don't know. Is there evidence to suggest, on their social medias, did they stop posting each other a long time ago? Is there something to indicate that there have been troubles for some time, and it's just now starting to
Yeah.
unravel? I know that there's some not conspiracy theories. I know there's some evidence out there to suggest that Raquel and Tom have been
She's
hanging
gotcha.
out for a while. We know that. But help me fill in some of these gaps. Whoever is the most informed. Let's go.
Emily and I will tag team. There is so much here, Taylor. We could talk for 2 hours
it's loaded.
to answer this question. And I will note it's 8:20 p.m. and Vanderpump Rules comes on the first episode since Sandoval broke at 9 p.m. So we got a clip along. But
I'm ready.
I think
Speed round.
She's got to be a regular.
I'm gonna make a few points. One point is, thus far, the accepted theory is that this relationship started in July between Raquel/Rachel and Tom Sandoval. So it's been going on for quite some time.
Okay.
One of the floated, things was that Tom and Raquel/Rachel wore matching lightning bolt necklaces as a signal of their love together. We were all blissfully unaware of this, as was
Sure.
Ariana. But if you go back and look at photos, those start around that same time, that July timeframe. And I would like to shamelessly plug myself.
Let's go.
I took a photo with Tom
feature it.
Sandoval in Austin, Texas, at Soho House, Austin, on October, I think 21st. I have to
Yes.
look at the timestamp
Let's
on
go.
my phone.
Receipts. Women always got the
He
receipts.
was wearing the lightning bolt necklace in October.
Damn,
and
my
I
guy.
am in the photo, so
He
I am
had-
part of this.
You got to send us
I'm
the
part of
photo.
it.
You got to send
He had
Taylor
the guts
photo.
to wear that in front of you. How dare he?
I will.
dare
And he
he.
was so lovely and kind. And so I think that's
I don't think
where a lot of
anybody's
this-
evil.
just to
It's-
simple this down for the men. He's cheating,
Totally.
and he's got a necklace, matching necklace with the woman he's cheating with.
A
And-
lover's necklace.
Okay,
and he's just
so
wearing this.
allegedly.
Oh, okay.
Lover's
Allegedly.
entanglement.
But can I just state why this is grabbing people so intensely?
The necklace piece or the overall news?
I'm saying the overall news, but no, the necklace piece too, because this is where it comes in. This is why I think it's so heart-wrenching.
Yeah, let's go.
It's one thing to be with somebody for 9 years. I think you would grow some kind of respect for them, even if you
Yes.
fell out of love with them.
Yeah, the
there'd be a
necklace is
respectful way to
nasty.
bow out.
Yeah.
I think
The
the
necklace
reason
is nasty.
people are struggling with this because they've been so having a good time flaunting it without
Yeah.
other people knowing the necklace is being one piece. If you watch What Happens Live, which is the show that happens
With
after,
Andy Cohen?
yes,
Yeah.
with Andy Cohen after the
I
show
went through
airs.
Bravo boot camp last
Which
night.
I thought
Swear to God.
I thought it was weird that she brought a Tom sweatshirt because they call her a fangirl, and you're thinking, and I believe this about Raquel, if I'm being honest. She does seem like a fangirl. I feel like she got in there with James Kennedy. She's here to try to work her
Sure.
way up. She's a pageant girl.
She is a self-proclaimed fan of the show. She
Yes,
was a
and she
fan
got
of
on
the
it.
show
She was
a fan before
she got
became
on.
a cast member.
So
keep
she,
that in mind.
yeah, and
well,
and
she's
beautiful.
successful in many ways.
Yes,
then.
and she's beautiful, but it doesn't make her a kind person or a thoughtful person, which is why
Okay.
people are also struggling because it's like she's coming in, she's flaunting him by wearing these necklaces
Yeah.
on the Watch What Happens Live. She offered one of the Tom sweatshirts, which is like their merch, to Andy, which is kind of weird because there's a whole cast of people that are friends, and yet you're going to be the person that goes, "Oh, let me gift you this sweatshirt from the
Yeah,
Toms,"
I
because that'd be
gotcha.
something like a girlfriend would do if Tom couldn't be there. Yet this girl's, we don't know at this point, but she's stepping in going, "Here, Andy, this is from the Toms." There was also questions asked on that What
Like,
Happens
why
Live.
is she doing it?
Okay.
Yes.
Shady.
And she goes to all his shows. They've been reported apparently hooking
So
up
this
afterwards.
this has been going on for some time.
But they're doing it so almost flaunting and intentionally
Yeah.
that it's insulting and it's honestly embarrassing to me for them because you're watching it and you're going, that's so cruel and what is the point?
Yeah.
But you guys didn't pick up on
Tom-
this earlier.
No,
Tom
I mean,
dressed
a little
up
bit. I
as
thought things were-
Raquel for Halloween.
Yes, that was the
Like,
other thing. Yes, he dressed up as her for
Listen.
Halloween.
All right,
My
so-
and he
husband
went to
dressed as
Halloween with
another woman for
Ariana and the rest of the
Halloween.
cast.
Now I know that's a red
Yeah.
flag.
Let me tell you, this wouldn't be the first time he's dressed as another woman. All right.
Dude, one of the best scenes from that show is when he was like, Tom Schwartz is a battered woman, and he kicks open the bathroom door and
Iconic.
he's on the toilet. Like, that is just amazing.
All right. So there's a couple of pieces to this, but we can do a short answer on this. Where has Ariana been this whole time?
Hurt.
She's
Great
just,
question.
Has she
Well,
just kind of been? Is she okay? Back up. Is she low key by nature? Is she as social on
She's
media
social, but
as
on
Raquel and
media,
Tom?
I don't know. No, I mean, I think Raquel cares more about the fame piece
Does she
than
have an
anybody
Instagram?
else. Yes.
Do you follow her?
She deleted it recently, but yes, I did.
But before she deleted it.
Did she delete
did.
it after as a
she
result
deleted
of
it
this?
when she knew the news
She
was breaking.
did it
Okay.
as a result.
Okay.
And
Got you.
She's hurt. Poor thing.
Taylor, I do feel like we need to close the loop on something important, though, in your
Please
last
do.
question
Please
before
do.
we move on,
So
which
many
relates to
receipts.
Tom Schwartz.
Yes.
Because you asked, you had asked who's been leaking, but you'd also asked, did everybody know?
Yeah.
And then when did they know? And I think one of the key wrinkles in this whole story is, when did Tom Schwartz, who is Tom Sandoval's best friend, when did he know? He's the business partner. He's the best friend.
Well, he had to know day one.
Well, Jennifer, what do you think?
Well, what a question. So
You're thinking he's kept out of the loop.
Funny.
the answer to this question will either cast Tom Schwartz as a villain or a victim, because if he knew, he is absolutely sorted into the villain category right alongside Tom Sandoval and Raquel /
Yes.
Rachel. And he didn't tell his friends, and he covered for them, and it's just awful. On the flip side, if he really didn't know, which I think is unlikely, he's kind of a victim, because he made out with Raquel / Rachel in the July-ish timeline, last summer or whenever it happened, at some point
Do
in
you
2022.
think, though, this is my question to you, do you think that Sandoval and Raquel were allowing this Tom Schwartz line because it was a cover up, or do you think that was just coincidence, or do you think she was just like, well, he's not committing to me, so I'm out making out with these other guys and I'm going to make him jealous?
I think it's very possible that we don't know. There's a lot we don't know right now, but I think it's very possible that Rachel / Raquel maybe decided, I'm going to hook up with Tom's best friend to get his attention. Maybe she wasn't getting enough attention from Sandoval.
That's what I think. I think they were on the DL, and I think she was happy to play into that storyline, even though she truly didn't like him like that, which is why she didn't take it seriously. You can tell that in the show.
I've seen it all before.
They had been bamboozled by Raquel. You know what I
I think
mean?
he
So
found
it's
out probably
possible.
midway. I think he found out midway. That would be my guess. I think
I
he was
agree, and I
bamboozled
think
a
he's
little,
gonna-
but then once he found out, he was helping Tom cover.
A classic
and
bamboozle.
there is a significant amount of footage of interviews that Tom and Tom did recently where Tom Schwartz looks very off
Always
guard
looking
when
at
asked
Tom
about
Sandoval.
Raquel.
He's always like,
Yes.
what should I say? And it's like, it's very odd because I know he's very unsure a lot of the time, but it's more so than usual. And it's like
100%.
clearly they're
It looks
covered.
like he's looking to Tom Sandoval for cues because he doesn't know how to cover for his friend having this affair. And so I think that Tom Schwartz knew way before we did, and that makes him.
Now,
that makes him
Jennifer,
a villain.
question, right?
Now, Jennifer, correct me if I'm wrong. Hasn't Schwartz taken a position and claimed that he did not know? Like he's very. Is that correct or no?
We have not. I don't believe we've heard from Schwartz.
Okay.
We've only heard from Tom Sandoval, who included Schwartz in his apology. His first apology, he did not apologize or mention Ariana, but he did.
Brutal.
But he did apologize.
Who's
to
he paying? Who's he paying for this PR?
I don't know. I just want.
It was
Tom
like
Tom-
you read it and you went, no. And honestly, both their apologies at this point look so PR based that
Yeah.
it's like, it just looks messy. You're
my
like, I can't take this.
But to answer that question, so the only person who's spoken up about whether Schwartz knew was Sandoval in that statement, and he said Schwartz only found out like recently. So basically, Sandoval said Schwartz knew before us, like the public, which is already.
Can somebody
he
get
said-
the-
damning.
Josh, can you get the Instagram post?
He said-
from Tom Sandoval.
Recently, because he didn't want to put a date on it.
Yeah.
Because he knew if the story shifted, he could say, well, I meant like this time.
All right. So to put a bow on a few of these things, the general consensus, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but the general consensus is that Tom and Raquel have been fooling around for several months now, likely midsummer.
Yes,
is what we're saying.
It's Coachella.
This has been some time.
There's even an overlap with the way Ariana met Tom. I
Yep.
feel like Tom kind of got Raquel's interests very similar
Okay.
with the whole Coachella thing.
Sure. Yep. So it's been going on for some time. It seems like if we were betting men and ladies, we would say that the other Tom probably knows or is in on it to some extent. Maybe not from day one,
and-
but likely has some sense.
In history, Tom Schwartz has
that
said he
something
would
was
cover
going
for
on.
his castmates if they were cheating. He has said that. So now,
Said
once
it.
you say that, I can't totally trust you
Sure.
because you've said that to me.
Lady,
Now, go ahead.
sorry, lady, have we seen a shift in Sandoval's attitude since he grew the mustache?
Good question.
I think he's going through a bit of like a
And does it correspond to the
To
cheating?
the cheating. Yeah, that's where I was going.
Actually, kind of.
a little
because-
bit, but Ariana said she wanted him to have his like
Yeah.
Top Gun or whatever it was moment.
The mustache
Tom
is very
Selleck,
significant.
like, yeah.
Respect.
I like it.
All right.
So,
Oh, go ahead, Jennifer. Please finish.
I was going to say Ariana encouraged the mustache, and it
She's paying for
it may
it.
have backfired.
That's
It may
true.
have backfired.
She's paying
It's
for it.
He grew it, and then everybody.
He,
Yeah.
when he started stepping out.
It's too much energy for any one man.
That
really.
mustache is a lot of energy.
All right. So does anybody find it a little odd? We're going to touch on some conspiracy theories here. I don't want to run too long, but does anybody find it a little, and this will segue us into that. Is it odd that they have been together for 9 years, no engagement? Anybody find that weird?
No, if you watch
Absolutely.
the show, they definitely touch on that from the beginning.
Opposing ideas.
Huge plot line.
Yeah, it's
Huge
part of the
plot
show.
line.
So Ariana has said from the beginning she doesn't really believe in marriage. She
Yeah.
doesn't really want kids. Tom has kind of said he would like those things if he had
Sure.
his choice, but he's also been wavering, kind of like, well, I love her, I don't think I need those
Yeah.
things. But
Yeah.
there's also been hints that like maybe their intimate life isn't on fire all the
Okay.
time. So I think I'm not saying that
no
they
wood
are
and
necessarily
fire.
meant to be together or there wasn't a reason for a downfall.
Okay.
But the way he handled it is what's
They
setting
got
everybody-
comfortable, maybe.
Correct.
Yes, and they have
And
businesses
then-
and an expensive house.
Well, and also just to throw in a little Jax Taylor into the mix, because how could we not? But
course not.
Jax has always been outspoken about Ariana and Tom's relationship. He has called them glorified roommates. Like
Wow.
years ago, he had said this.
Who is
so
this hater?
I think it's
he was our big villain, but we lost a lot of villains along the way. So
Oh, so he's gone.
did.
He's out.
he's
of the
gone.
picture.
All the major villains did an extremely
So
bad act. Not really Jax, I don't think, but people just got fired from the show. So that's why they've had a hard time resurging the same drama. So
which is why Tom is the new villain.
Which is why I feel like some of this could be orchestrated.
Okay, and so that was a question. I didn't know if you were going to explicitly go there, but that's a question that I had while I was prepping for this. I thought, is it entirely possible that this has been going on for a long time, and or it's not really even a thing, and it's just been held under wraps in order to be used? Because I had read that the show had lost a few people, and that it
Yeah.
was looking like maybe it was going to end within the next year or so.
Yeah,
And
didn't
all
the
of a
last
sudden-
season not do so well?
Jennifer, did you read about this?
yes.
Okay, so if you want
I
to
think
comment
this-
on it, you should.
I think this is like a valid conspiracy theory, to be honest. I do think it's a conspiracy theory.
That's what I think,
right?
too.
Like I think
That's
it's
what we're here for.
unlikely to be true just because of the genuine nature of the responses we've seen from like the whole Bravo family. This would be a very like the level of orchestration needed to pull this off, and like the cast would have to be really good actors to pull this off, and I don't think they are.
And also,
Like,
did you see Stassi's statement?
yeah, and I listened to her podcast.
Yeah,
Like,
because
I
Stassi was
don't-
like, I'm telling you, and I believe her, she's not on the show anymore. She doesn't have any, dog in that fight. She was like, they do, obviously there's scripted things or things where they have people meet, but she said overall, she was like, they do not write the plot lines. This
Yeah.
was not planned. This is all genuine.
Okay.
Lies.
Yeah, well, and I
It's
also
easy to claim that.
Tom Sandoval is known for having a big ego, and I think it is highly unlikely that he would ever.
He wants to
agree,
be
and
seen in a
Stassi said
good
this as well.
light, and it ruined their.
Yes,
Yeah, he
would
cares.
never agree to be the main villain or to be cast in like he would never turn America against him, and
I don't know.
he did.
Big ego.
All right.
Big mustache.
So going off
Big
of these
villain.
concepts of conspiracy theories,
Big villain energy right
are there other conspiracy theories that I am not aware of that I'm missing? I feel like the big one is just that it's all a setup. But are there other things out there, other potential plots, if you will?
I was floating a conspiracy theory, and I believe I've been fully disproved. And I want to start by saying a public apology to Sheena, because I had told like everybody I knew that I did not think that the Sheena, Raquel, Rachel altercation happened. I thought that was a like cover up essentially, because I thought Sheena and Raquel and Rachel are very close, which plays out on this current season. They're like best buds.
Yeah, it's true.
And so I thought if Schwartz knew, it's totally likely that Sheena knew about this affair and was covering. And I thought that the whole assault thing was a cover story to make it seem like Sheena was shocked and found out with the rest of us. But I've backpedaled that. That was my conspiracy theory, and I believe it's
Well,
been
the
fully
truth
debunked.
is, I understand why you thought that, because there was a point where they did say, "Oh, it never happened. The punch never happened," and people were reporting that. But I think it happened just because of the restraining order, and a judge did grant it, and you need some grounds, I guess, to say that.
You told me about this off air, the punch.
Yeah, and
okay.
I honestly, I mean, I don't think she planned it, but it's been really great for Sheena's PR, because I feel like herself this season, and she kind of gets in her own way.
Yeah.
She's kind of self-motivated. She wants to be a girl's girl, but she's supporting the wrong girls and their motives.
Oh my God,
so
yeah.
Sheena always ends up on the wrong side. She gets in her own way. I don't think she's a bad person, but you're like, she needs someone to hold her hand and go, that's not it. So, but I think she got her reaction to like Ariana, who's been her friend since the beginning, has been a loyal friend, to back her up. That's why it's like, no, nobody wants to condone physical violence. But in this case, the fandom is like, Sheena, you earned your stripes. Like, we'll like you again. Like, she totally reversed her season with
It was
this.
redeeming for her, which is very dark because, again,
yes, which is so odd. Psychology is crazy.
Violence, but somehow it's worked.
Somehow we feel better about it. It's true.
Sometimes
But
Wayne
I
Brady's
feel
gonna have
that
to choke
there's
him.
a major gap in what we know about the alleged assault / altercation with Sheena and Rachel / Raquel, because we've been told that, like, okay, Ariana found out because Tom's phone slipped out of his pocket during his concert.
Oh, so I heard that.
Also, a wild scenario.
No. Hold on.
Carry
So
on.
can I interrupt you real quick?
I don't know about that.
No. So let me interrupt.
Okay, all right.
So I read that theory originally with Jennifer, like we were reading the same articles.
Yes.
I heard that his phone slipped out. The new theory is that he wanted a video of himself on stage, so he handed her to the camera. And I think she's had suspicions, because I think you brought up this question earlier, that like she's suspected things on and off for a minute. So I told you this story. One time Raquel was staying in the guest house, and at like 4 a.m. Ariana caught him walking out of the guest room, and she was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I was giving her water."
Yeah.
And like there's like little stories like that. She's noticed how
She's
close
thirsty.
they are. So Ariana's picked up on it. But she didn't have the smoking gun. So I think when she got the phone and she was recording him on his phone, she's like, cool, let me just hold this for you. I read that she went to a bathroom, went through his phone, found the stuff, and then came back out
Wait,
like,
But wait a minute.
Back up.
They live together.
Let's back
Why
up real
wouldn't
quick.
she have done this a long time
I don't know what their relationship's like. I would imagine it's like when you're living that lifestyle.
But this is also where I feel like we have a lot of gaps.
Of course.
There's a lot we don't know.
Yeah,
Because,
see, that's where I was getting at.
Yeah, had Raquel / Rachel just sent him this video that was sexual in nature?
It was a FaceTime. He recorded it without her consent.
Oh, I guess that's a good point. If he had already recorded a FaceTime.
He recorded it without telling her, and they were FaceTiming.
You're right.
Dicey.
So the point being, the way this links back to Sheena is that apparently, like, Ariana finds this out at the show, and I think all of the questions being raised are very good. We don't really understand the nature of like what happened or why or how she found out, but like she then either calls Sheena or Rachel / Raquel. They're together because they have just filmed Watch What Happens Live in New York, and they find out, and then this altercation happens. But like, there's so much blank space there. It's like, how did they go from getting the news to suddenly like Sheena's throwing Rachel / Raquel into a wall?
Right.
That's a lot. That's a lot we don't.
But if they were at a bar drinking, I mean, that could have helped. So who knows? Like,
True.
Yeah,
very true.
It's very out of character for Sheena, so I think we have a lot of questions, and we still need a lot of answers about what happened that night.
It's a lot of out of character stuff.
I mean, I will say Sheena was definitely acting out of what we thought she would do, which we're kind of proud of, but kind of makes.
All right, back me up real quick. So she was living in the pool house?
No, they're a very they're a tight knit group of friends. So I think like they would do a lot of things. Like even when Tom dressed up as Raquel for Halloween, they were all out together. Like they spend the night at each other's houses. I think they probably
that
would.
was the problem right there.
And here's the thing:
there's
a
problem.
You're blurring the lines.
There's a lot of fan footage of when Tom would have like he does a cover band. So when he'd have a show, both of them would be at the show, but just those two, and they'd both be like gazing at him with hard eyes. That fans picked up on it, and it's
Messy.
like, why is Raquel the only person from the cast? And you could argue she only really gets along with Sheena and Ariana, so maybe that's her way of going out. But it's an easy way to hide I'm messing around with your boyfriend.
God damn it.
All right.
It's so bad.
So I know that there's probably a lot more to this story, but I feel like we've covered a lot of good aspects of it. I feel like we have a lot of context, which is very helpful. And I want to make sure that everybody gets to their 9 o'clock viewing of the later.
Oh, and then
Their
Andy Cohen's also
commitments.
talking to Lisa
So-
Vanderpump tonight, one-on-one.
Big deal.
Yeah, tonight's a bombshell.
Yes.
For,
So-
like, this is huge.
Let me ask a couple of questions as we close this segment out.
Am I more than $100 deep in Scandal merchandise? The answer is yes, Taylor. I'm
Good
glad
for
you asked.
you. dude. Is it t-shirts, mugs, keychains?
I
Air
went with
fresheners?
Tumblers?
2 candles.
Okay.
Sent one for me, sent one to a friend,
Good.
the friend who informed me
Good.
of the scandal, because you got to thank your people. And
The
I
scandal
also
candle.
got the something about her
Scandal
sweatshirt
candles.
Yeah.
that was released today, which is the sandwich shop that Ariana and Katie are
Yes.
All right.
We'll be visiting.
So I love that. That's great.
Nice.
Moving
And I know-
forward with,
go ahead.
sorry, finish your statement.
I was just going to say, I know no one loves merch more than you, Taylor. You are the merch.
I love a good merch.
He's a verified fan, baby.
Let me tell you, I don't love
I've
designer
never
merch.
seen someone who owns more merch.
Look at what he's wearing right now. Can you
Explicit.
tell?
He's wearing merch.
He's wearing a Taylor Swift merch.
Taylor Swift
That
merch.
surprises me zero.
All right. So moving forward now in time, where there's going to be a reunion. Maybe it's not been filmed yet. Maybe we get some of this there, but probably the upcoming episodes are all going to be pretty standard. Like this isn't going to bleed into the show in the
Immediately.
foreseeable future, right? So obviously we're all hyped. We're all excited for the reunions. That'll be a big deal. That's great. And these after shows will be revealing as well. Now moving into season 11, right? Like what is
Ooh,
like,
way ahead.
Where are you guys falling there? Like if Tom and what if Tom and Tom decide they're going to pack up shop and they're out and then they bail? Like what does the future of Vanderpump look like if you take the core couple and fracture it like this? Because it seems like, in my opinion, it seems like Tom and Ariana had a falling out. They've been together for a long time. They got comfortable with each other. Rachel came in, and kind of, she just snuck in there and she kind of stole him out from under her,
They got to be on
And-
a full blown relationship.
Yeah. So there's going to be a big divide in the show.
very much at
They
fault,
gotta
but
go
But
straight
what's the
into
future?
it.
Do you keep supporting Vanderpump Rules and watching the show if Tom is on it and now he's with Raquel and Rachel? Like, where does the fan base go at this point?
Me personally, I started this journey by watching Lisa Vanderpump because
Yeah.
she really is my queen. She was on Real Housewives.
Okay.
So
you're here for her.
Listen, British accent, palms, diabolical.
Yes, we get it.
But she's
love
not
her.
really involved
But
in
she
this
owns,
dynamic
but
right
she
now.
owns the restaurants, and I wasn't even planning on being in the show. I'm always willing to give them a chance. So basically, what
Okay.
I'm saying is, they've done a really good job, I think, of regrouping, especially when they lost major cast members. It was tough. I'm not saying every season is as strong, but I think for the dynamics that they were given and trying to film consistently, I think they did
gotcha.
a great job, and I support that. So
It's
I will.
lasted 10 years, so yeah.
Yeah, I would continue to try to watch it now.
You're going to stick with it.
I
Is
will.
what you're saying.
I'm curious. Yes.
And then Jennifer, what are your thoughts? You sticking with it?
I'm all in, and I think that probably the fan base has expanded by tenfold, and
Yeah.
everybody in America will be all in for season 11 just to see what the hell happens. But I
Sure.
think you raise a really good point that I think it's very possible that Raquel and Tom quit the show, or they have to find out a new filming arrangement, because I don't see other cast members agreeing to Stassi brought this up on her podcast. What are they? They're not all going to be at the same parties anymore because
yeah,
correct.
They're
there's this
taking
huge
hard sides.
divide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it'll be interesting to see who the cast is in season 11. Will we even still have? And again, there's a
Yeah.
restraining order between 2 cast members, so they can't film.
And there's no word on season 11. Like season 10 is season 10, but it's not like it's been renewed. So it's possible they could split the show.
Raquel's restraining order, I heard, is temporary, so it's not. It might not hold up.
Yeah, so it might not.
So
but
they.
I will say, Taylor, too, this cast, and Emily knows, this cast has bounced back from some pretty crazy stuff where it was how could they possibly keep filming
Yes,
after
yes,
such a big
yes.
rift? This is bigger than anything.
Yeah.
But to give them credit, they've bounced back from everything to date.
And worst case, it's a cash cow because then they got a spin-off opportunity.
Yeah, this could be a
There we
spin-off.
go.
100%.
All
Can
right.
you imagine
Sandoval.
a spin-off of Rachel/Raquel and Tom Sandoval? That is
That's
He
what I
marries-
was
I think
thinking.
he
Well,
marries the.
They
He's
could
gonna
do
marry this girl.
like a restaurant bar show.
They could
the two
do a
of them.
sandwich shop show. You know what I mean? They could do a Katie and Ariana sandwich shop.
All kinds of spin-off
Because a lot of people
potential.
have hypothesized that they thought the way the show would actually move on after this season was that I mean, this whole controversy maybe changed that.
Yeah.
Is that the Toms would become the new Lisa Vanderpump, and they would have a school of like employees that would have their own drama.
Well, that still could happen.
Could still happen.
Yeah.
Taylor, before we wrap up, though, I do feel like it's International Women's Day.
Let's
I
do
think
it.
we need to just take a moment to say we support Ariana. We whatever she's going through must be so difficult. And I feel like this weekend, Emily and I were on a bit of a bender. Like we were
moved
not
me.
not
It
an
was.
alcohol bender, but like a media bender. And then
Emotional.
bender.
yeah, this week feels like The Hangover, where it settled in, where you were like, oh my God, this is Ariana's life. This is so
It was a
devastating
shift for
what's happened to
us.
her.
Like that's I don't know. It really bothered me. It's
Yeah,
insane.
it hits deep.
did
There's
bother me. Yeah.
People's lives are in the balance
For
here.
it
So
to
we
reach
just,
my black household, it's been very, very tumultuous.
The Bravo verse is just
It's
been,
just crazy.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't know Bravo was very transcendent.
Oh my
like
God!
this.
Please watch Bravo. Oh my
Jeez.
God.
You got to get on board. It's your
It's
time.
crazy.
Jennifer, thank you
I
so
love it,
much.
though.
You
for
are
being
so
here.
informative and so concise. I think you
Yeah.
are definitely needed.
Your
I
presentation
love
is just
Oh,
top
yeah.
notch.
Yeah.
This was
Thumbs up
my
to you.
dream. Thank you for making my dream come true.
Yeah. All
right.
I had norovirus when I found out that
Oh
this
my
happened.
gosh.
So
What?
yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't
Jeez.
good. And it felt like this scandal was like a little fairy godmother gave me what I needed.
Oh my gosh.
So I've been plugged in.
I love
really
your
deep.
energy.
All right.
Yeah.
I love your energy.
Thank you.
You can stay on for 1 second. I'm going to stop recording real fast.
Thank you for being here. And can you say something to rude to JW for us? Just you pick. It's up to you, whatever it is. Just
Wait,
as
did you
long as
say-
it's very
say
rude.
something rude?
Yeah.
Your husband.
I gotta tell JW. Tell JW he owes me.
I can't. You guys, listen, I'm the ride or die. I never.
No,
That's
no,
true.
no, no,
She
no.
can't.
This
She's-
is all fallacy.
she's in.
But listen,
And
tell
listen,
him.
these are tough times. He's in New York right now. What if he has a Raquel? I can't risk it.
Stop it. No, no, no. JW's way too nice of a guy. Not happening.
It
But
would
tell
never
him,
happen, but
tell him
I'm
he
going.
owes me $23 from the time I took him to lunch in 2015. This,
will tell
this
him.
doesn't exist at all. But just tell
You're
him.
never gonna get paid.
I just want to see his reaction, and you let me know.
I have some Venmos to him from our wedding, like where I was like, "Yo, you owe me for the photo booth." Nothing, dude. He
Damn, JW just dumping people
You
with the
just
bill.
need Taylor
I
ammo.
paid for other shit. I'll let him tell his side of the story.
I'm going to
but-
start hitting him up for random Venmos. Just to see.
Just random.
He just starts sending me large
100%.
sums of
1
money.
in 100. And if you get anything out of
It's
that.
like, I don't know. Maybe
Will
I
you put
do
a picture
owe
of
him.
JW just at the end of this?
You.
Yes. How you feeling, dude?
Sacrifice.
Just wrestling with headphones right now.
Let's just close out episode 50.
All right.
We're
I'm
gonna.
in no rush. I'm good, man.
It seems like you're in a rush.
I'm not
dude.
gonna like piss my pants.
Yeah, we've got like 5 minutes of tape left, so we'll figure this is gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right. Josh,
Yeah.
you do us the honors.
Yeah, definitely. The Last of Us season 1 reflections.
right.
Probably
Is
a
it
quick
over?
one or next time.
Yeah. So here's the deal. This coming week, this Sunday is the season finale, and it's over. All right, season 1's
7
over.
episodes,
but we're
man.
not recording next week. I'm out of town.
You're out.
So
It's fine. I'll get
this is
pizza
just a little
Wednesday.
send off. It's been a great season so far. If I were to give some hot takes on it, I think it could be a touch darker. That's just my opinion.
It's been very dark.
The video game is a little darker. It's a little bit more like violent in some moments, and there's a little bit more impact that I feel like when you're playing the game, you kind of feel. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You watched the last episode, right? So, for example, this is like a hair and makeup thing. You'll appreciate this. But when she is like chopping
Beating
the dude
him
up
over
at the
the head,
end,
yeah.
and there's blood everywhere, and then she comes out of the building
can
after,
see it.
it looks like she didn't do anything.
I actually, when we were watching that together, you know me, I was
Yes.
looking at all the hair and makeup stuff. I thought the same thing.
Yes.
I thought I was going to see like streaks
Yes.
of blood just gushing up her
Didn't
face.
happen.
And the same thing happens in the game, the exact same sequence where you see her after and she's like just
Like a strong
drenched.
strike would be like lines going
So it just was more impactful in the
But
game that moment.
I will
but-
say this: I'm not trying to dog the person that does it because
No.
that makeup and everything is so solid and so good. So it's
Oh,
not even.
yeah.
I did think the same thing though because I was thinking she's taking an axe to like
Oh.
arteries. Like
blood just
streaks
shooting out,
shooting
yeah.
It should
vertical.
be. Yeah, I was a little like there are some things like
Because
that.
the whole impact of that episode was when she found Pedro or what's his name in the show, Joel. In there again, like it's supposed to be this like she was traumatized,
but in relieved at the same time.
When she looked at him, if there was just blood,
it
would have just hit for sure. So I'll give Taylor that, because I will say I was super impressed because I watch him play the video game. And the whole segment in the video game where like you're in the diner and he's like trying to find her. I was like telling Taylor out loud while he's trying to watch the show. I was like, it looks exactly like
frame for frame.
I mean, even to the point where like in the game you're supposed to like throw a bottle or throw something to distract him. Like she's going into like the double doors that like, I mean, these sets are so incredible.
Yeah.
It's exactly like the show. Like
Bravo
whoever's
to them.
working on that.
No pun.
Did you also know that Taylor told me this? The guy that when she's on the table and they're gonna chop her up, and then she like hits the brunette guy with like the beard. That's the guy that does the voice for Joel in the video game. I thought that was cool.
Well, you find out in the post show.
Yeah, so most of the people that are in the game as voice actors are actually in the show as actors and actresses. Most of them have that. Roles.
The fact that he was Joel, though, is like such a pinnacle. And he
really
died
dope.
So quickly. He was in for 2 seconds and then he's out.
Yeah, it was really dope.
But I'm excited for the season finale. It should be pretty rad if it sticks to the video game. Very excited for it. And,
I feel like it really, and you can correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't started it. I said I was going to wait till the game is over. I've been playing God of War Ragnarok and Spider-Man. I was going to wait till the show's over and then go through it because I feel like it would give me enough time. But I feel like they really slow-paced the show versus the game.
The game is a longer playthrough because there's a lot of aspects where you're actually like, going through it, playing a lot of the sequences. So yeah, I mean the show is pretty quick paced in comparison, I think. Right, cool. But it's great.
All right, next up, Chris Rock.
Okay, great. This might be the last thing that we get into because we're pretty low on time. But the Chris Rock live thing, you actually posted something about this. I actually agreed with you. I didn't respond though. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was like his best effort.
I don't think it was great. I don't think it was bad. I just think, and it's my quick points. Chris Rock hasn't aged gracefully with his stand-up. It was very slapsticky, and the jokes were kind of aged, and his delivery seemed very Chris Rock from the 90s, where if you compare him to other comedians, even in his class, even like we've seen stand-ups from Seinfeld, Chappelle, those guys have aged with their delivery.
Yeah,
he's still holding on to his delivery from the 90s.
He's got kind of the same format.
Yeah, and it doesn't really match with what the jokes he's delivering.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a throw off. And then the whole tangent at the end, was there's some truth and fallacy to it.
You mean the Will Smith thing?
Yeah, like I get it. But at the same time, with the truth, there's also kind of like
a gray area.
Yeah, like all right, man. Like this happened a year ago, and we're I get it.
You know what though? It's what people wanted to hear him talk about.
That's
I don't
true.
think he knew that was going to be a drive. And the truth is, I'm sure he deeply has a lot of feelings about that. I mean, he probably feels humiliated when you're standing on a stage in front of a bunch of people and somebody comes up and just slaps you, somebody he admires. That's a lot of turmoil to deal with. I could definitely see myself that if I was on a platform, it's almost like there's something about just like expelling it or getting it out in like a big moment.
I found a lot of contradiction in it.
Okay.
The last joke was, we don't argue, and I love you guys.
It's okay.
We don't argue in front of white people. We don't do that. But then we do it on the Netflix stage. I present this on the Netflix.
Did you not find it funny?
As evidence that we don't, and now I'm going to keep to do it.
Because we don't do that, and you did this, I'm going to do that. Like, it was just kind of like,
you thought it was hypocritical in a way?
It was very hypocritical.
But isn't that kind of I mean, I saw the joke in it. The joke's for you. Like, honestly. Like, it's for the black community. You know what I mean? Like, that's who that joke was for.
It was definitely for us, but then at the same time, it's like, well,
it doesn't hit the same.
It doesn't hit the same because you're doing it.
That's an honest.
Yeah. And then I also felt like it was extremely too long. Like, it was just.
You're saying that his rant.
It was 15 minutes of just boom, 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 boom.
of the Will Smith thing.
Yeah, I felt like it was
I thought the
extremely
same
concentrated.
thing. I thought he was gonna take everybody to the end and like deliver like one or two lines on it and then bow out because he kind of set it up like that.
You're a comedian.
You know what I mean?
You're supposed to.
And then he went in on it.
But he
pretty
did
heavy.
name his whole show, I think, based on that.
Well, he did it in Baltimore. Jada's from Baltimore. He did it on purpose.
And the other thing too, which was the show name and concept, I like the idea of it. I felt like he set the show up really well using good examples of selective outrage, and then I feel like he lost the plot during the middle of the set.
That's what I thought.
And then he kind of came full circle on it in the end. But I felt like it would have been better, I feel like, if he kind of kept that
You made the
throughout.
point of like he made a joke about his daughters going to school and like doing
He spent
that
a lot of
drinking
time
thing.
on that story.
And Taylor made a point. He was like, I feel like we got to the end of that story. It was more like a story than
And
like,
it was like we got to the end, and I was like, all right,
okay,
yeah. And I was like,
I think it's great that she's going to a private
yeah,
school.
that's awesome that
Yeah.
you went from Pookie to Chris Rock.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that you're rich, but the story had no.
Right, you're like, but the punchline wasn't
What's
totally.
the,
dropped, yeah.
Everybody, if you know me personally, you know how I feel about Chris Rock. I think he's a panderer, but again, it showed his age. It showed, it had its moments, where it's funny, you have sex with a woman in her 50s and she wanted her tooth fixed. Like he had his moments where he was OG Chris Rock, but overall performance was kind of
not as great,
lackluster. Yeah. So,
all right,
I gave it a chance.
It's good.
whatever.
I wasn't mad at it. I mean, it's on Netflix. It streamed live. I thought that was cool. I
Yeah, that was
enjoyed
cool. That was a cool
Yeah, and there
aspect.
are stand-ups that I'm like, I can't get through this, and I'll switch it off.
Yeah.
It wasn't that kind of stand. It was
Yeah,
like
it was
I
good.
enjoyed watching.
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
It just wasn't like a,
I think Netflix had a little thing because when I tried to, because I didn't watch it live, I went back to watch it.
Oh, we watched it live.
And then when you click it, there's like hours. And you gotta like scroll through to figure out.
That's weird.
Yeah, like when it
I
starts.
have a question. When you watched it back, because we watched it live, and he messed up the punchline of part of one of the jokes. Did you see that?
Which joke?
He was talking about Will Smith. He was trying to name
yeah,
the movie
it was.
that he was
He
in.
meant
and
to
he
say
named the wrong-
concussion, but instead he said,
I
"What's the
didn't
new
notice
one that
that.
he's in?"
Emancipation.
Emancipation.
He said, and he literally says on stage, he goes, "I messed up the punchline." He goes,
Yeah.
"I meant to say this."
Yeah.
I missed it.
So, well, I wonder if you didn't miss it. I wonder if they actually
bet you
edited
they
it for
probably
the-
edited it to
I
make it-
bet you it's still in there unless he did more than one show at Baltimore.
Because I mean, like, if you're going to put it up forever, you can fix that right away. Like, you can
yeah, but
probably-
you'd have to record it twice.
right. And I thought there was a weird part. I looked at it and I thought I saw little glitches.
Like generally, when they film for a Netflix series or when they do a comedy thing like that, like John Mulaney's doing one. He's got one coming up in Massachusetts in a
him.
few weeks.
I love
In a
John
few weeks, I
Mulaney,
think.
yeah.
But it says like Netflix live taping, and there's 3 back-to-back performances.
So they'll
and they're gonna
probably
film
catch
all
one.
3. So if he screws anything up, they can just cut them all up.
Yeah.
So you're not watching all of one of them. But I think he only did one show.
I'm just
did
curious
one,
if
so,
they
yeah.
do edit it though. Like maybe he saw an edited version. I'm just curious how they.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you can if it is live like that.
I give it like a 6.5, 7. Like at the end of the day, I was entertained. I just kind of think the content was,
It appears it was not edited out.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
There you go.
All right. That's
All right, man. I don't know. Run down the list real quick. For me
anything
real fast.
else?
Yeah,
There's stuff on there, but just run
YouTube
through it.
and the profanity thing
Yeah,
that
we
we
can
talked
say
about.
this.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson and then Avatar on March 28th.
Avatar came out quicker. We don't need to do the Lamar thing. We can. There's plenty of time left to do that.
he ain't coming back.
Yeah.
But Avatar,
Keep going.
Wait, what?
We'll talk about it later.
he's gone.
Is he out of Baltimore?
Nah, not
Not
yet.
technically.
She really wants to talk about it now, and he keeps
Well,
checking the
I
time.
just heard that, and that's a bummer.
It's all good. All right, we're gonna wrap up. We ran out of tape on this
We're
camera
done.
anyway, so we're
Episode
just,
50.
We'll have audio, but it'll be fine. All right.
love doing this
Episode
with you.
51,
Love
man.
doing
It's
this with
been great.
y'all.
50, not 51, but
Thank you.
yeah.
And we'll save that for your birthday, so hold on to that.
Yeah,
What?
exactly.
For when
Next
he turns
year.
50.
For me? Yeah, I'm old as fuck. Cheers.
Next year, we don't.